Hi, I'm Andy from Louisiana. I joined a wrestling club when I was a kid and worked hard to become good at it. One day, our coach told us some great news. An important competition was going to take place in Tokyo in a month. If I won, I could get into the national team and become a rising sports star. Yay! Unfortunately, it turned out that the participants had to pay for their flight tickets and accommodation themselves. It was freaking expensive. I asked my dad if he could give me some money. I use air freshener instead of deodorant. Sorry, buddy, we can't afford such expenses. I had nothing in my piggy bank except for 2 cents and some M&Ms. I could wave goodbye to a career as an athlete. I wasn't listening to the history teacher as I tried to think of a solution. If I worked hard after school and didn't spend any money on snacks, it would only take me 100 years to save up enough money. Heck, I slammed my fist on the table and the teacher's eyes immediately snapped to me. Oops. Andy Reith, could you repeat what I just said? The French Revolution began in 1789? I said a new girl has been transferred to your class. At that moment, a gorgeous girl walked into the classroom. Her name was Camilla. She twirled her hair and innocently asked us who wouldn't mind showing her around at recess. All the boys immediately turned into lovesick fools and raised their hands. Pfft, they were jumping like trained monkeys because of a girl. How embarrassing. I didn't care about the new girl. However, the teacher decided to punish me for getting distracted in class by appointing me as Camilla's guide. I don't want to babysit some priss. What? I can't hear you, Mr. Grumpy. My name is Andy. Can you at least remember that, bird brain? You're supposed to be showing me around. Why are you being so rude? Oh, excuse me. Where are my manners? Here's a wall, and that's a window. Figure out the rest yourself. Camilla growled, and I left for the dining room. Someone else could deal with that princess. I had to look for a part-time job. I was in a terrible mood by the end of that school day. After all, I found out that my entire wrestling team was going to Tokyo, except for me. I still hadn't figured out how to quickly get the money. I came out of school and saw something weird. 2 boys were cornering a girl and laughing nastily. Your purse looks very heavy, so there's probably a lot of money in it. Back off! I'll scream so loud you'll go deaf! Would you look at that? It was Camilla. Luckily for her, and unfortunately for those guys, I was in a bad mood, so I didn't mind teaching them a lesson. Hey, she told you to back off! I tried to look scary and got into a fighting pose. Haha, you should have seen their faces, 2 cowardly chickens. Easy, we don't want any problems. They shouted that someone had asked them to bother her and immediately left. That was suspicious. However, I didn't care about her problems. I was about to leave, but then I saw how scared Camilla looked. Oh well, since I was acting like a knight, I decided to do it properly. Long story short, I offered to walk the new girl home. She told me her address and we walked there in silence. I couldn't help but whistle when I saw her house. Jeez, that was a palace. Camilla turned out to be a rich girl. She thanked me dryly and disappeared behind the gate. As soon as I was left alone, a guy in an expensive suit came up to me. Could I have a word with you? It turned out that was Camilla's father, Mr. Ritchie. He had apparently seen me protect his daughter. However, he looked angry, like I had done something bad. Why is that a problem? The man sighed heavily and said that his daughter was terribly spoiled. She was completely out of control and it was driving him nuts. She said she no longer wanted to be homeschooled and applied to our school. She doesn't belong here. She could get into trouble or drive all her classmates up the wall. But I can't make her change her mind, so I hired those guys to scare her. But you've ruined everything. Wow, I thought that was the weirdest thing I'd ever hear. But then Mr. Ritchie suddenly suggested I work for him. He wanted me to become the opposite of a bodyguard for his daughter and sneakily mess with and prank her. If I had turned Camilla's school life into a living hell, she would want to drop out after all. He promised me a good reward if I agreed. I didn't really want to go so far, but then I thought about it. I needed money for the competition. Besides, I would do everyone a favor by getting rid of Camilla. Okay, I'm in. The next morning, I got down to business. First of all, I decided to follow the new girl around a bit to find out about her weaknesses. I felt like a spy on a secret mission as I was taking notes about Camilla. As she walked to school, a homeless man came up to her and asked her for some change so he could buy a sandwich. The girl recoiled from him as if she saw a ghost. Stay away! The princess is disgusted by the homeless. I need to figure out how to use it. At school, I saw all the boys shower the pretty new girl with compliments and gifts. Camilla clearly loved the attention. If she falls in love with someone, she definitely won't leave. I should do something about it. After watching her in the dining room, I noticed that she only ate the food she brought with her. Okay, so she was also quite picky. By the end of the day, I had a plan to turn Camilla's life into a nightmare. I started with asking the local fishermen, my father's friends, to pretend to be homeless and corner Camilla every morning. Those guys all looked like Captain Jack Sparrow, so they scared her. Ew! Even though she was wearing heels, she ran away really fast. I needed all the boys to lose interest in the most beautiful girl in school, so I came up with a cunning plan. I downloaded a photo of her from Camilla's Instagram and photoshopped a 2-meter tall man into it. And then I showed the picture to my classmates. Have you been hitting on Camilla? You don't stand a chance. She has a boyfriend. He's a boxer from Germany. Wow, his fist is the size of my head. Thanks for the warning, man. Haha, soon Camilla was left without any fans. No matter how much she tried to act cute, the guys shield away from her like zombies. What is up with everyone? At recess, I stole her lunchbox. Since she refused to eat anything she hadn't brought with her, Camilla had to go hungry. The rumbling in her stomach could probably be heard on the other side of town. I spilled paint in her purse and lied to the teachers about a couple of things so that Camilla would be called to the principal's office. In a few days, she was really frustrated. I hate this place! Great! Soon she would go back to her mansion and I would get my well-deserved reward. I was trying to think of a way to make her snap when some grown-up guy came up to me. He said he was Drake, Camilla's older brother. Right, I'd seen him in photos with her. What do you want from me? My sister's been very upset lately and is thinking more and more about going back to homeschooling. I tried to figure out why and found out my dad put you up to causing trouble for her. I thought he would start telling me off and lecturing me, but Drake told me something interesting instead. Camilla had always been their father's favorite. He made a trust fund for her and wanted her to inherit everything he had. Drake would have been left with nothing. And then, Drake made me a really good offer. If Camilla disappoints Dad, I will get all the money. Make my sister like school so that she wouldn't want to leave. I'll give you 3 times more than whatever Dad's paying you. Wow! Did you hear that? What a family. But I thought about it anyway. That much money would be enough to pay for the competition and also a cool vacation for my parents. So I agreed. Now I had another difficult task ahead of me, to turn Camilla's school life into a fairy tale. I had to show her that there were a lot of awesome things outside of the mansion. So, the next morning, instead of the fishermen pretending to be homeless men, she met well-dressed guys who were handing out flowers to passers-by on her way to school. This rose is not half as beautiful as you, young lady. Have a nice day. Those were actually the guys from my wrestling club that I'd asked for help. At school, I didn't try to convince my classmates that Camilla didn't have a boxer boyfriend. Instead, I used Photoshop again and made it look like Camilla had met BTS members. I showed those photos to the other girls. Look at the new girl's friends. Wow, I love them too. I'm gonna chat with Camilla. All the girls wanted to be Camilla's friends now and flattered her. Wow, this school isn't all bad. Now it was time to use my most dangerous weapon, my charm. I stole Camilla's lunchbox again and sat down next to her at recess. Hi, did you forget your food again? Let me treat you to lunch. Don't be so stubborn. Camilla smiled and said that she always brought lunch with her because she was a vegetarian and wasn't sure she would find anything she could eat in the dining room. Wow, and there I thought she was just being picky. I brought her to the cook, explained the situation, and he offered many options from the menu to Camilla. Thank you, Andy. I was too embarrassed to talk about being a vegetarian and ask for help. At home, Dad always scolds me for it. You know what was weird? The more I talked to Camilla, the more I liked her. She wasn't as spoiled as her dad made her seem. I offered to walk her home after classes. When we came to the place where the fishermen usually bothered her, Camilla suddenly pulled out a whole container of sandwiches from her backpack and looked around anxiously. I saw hungry people here every morning, but ran away from them because I'm really afraid of germs. I feel terrible because I think they misunderstood me. So I decided to leave some food for them here. Pinch me, she was compassionate too. She said that her father always scolded her for constantly washing her hands. Do you think I'm crazy too? No, I think you're amazing. I often make a bad first impression. It's just that Dad always forbade me from hanging out with my peers. He's a mad tyrant and even makes me compete with my brother for the inheritance. Can you imagine? Drake and I are always fighting because of that. I decided that I would no longer be controlled by him and applied to a regular school. Damn it! I was mad as hell at Mr. Ritchie for deceiving me. I was even more pissed at myself for believing him because of the money. I decided I wanted to do nothing with Mr. Ritchie after all. From that day on, I started hanging out with Camilla a lot. It was a pity I wouldn't be able to go to the competition. However, Camilla came to my practice and cheered me on, so I felt like a champion.
Woohoo!
I really liked her, but I was afraid that she would hate me if she found out about all the things I'd done. So I didn't tell her anything. We studied together, and I even plucked up the courage and asked her out. Things were going great. But one day, Mr. Ritchie cornered me by the house. Damn, he looked angry. What do you think you're doing, Andy? We had an agreement. You lied to me. I won't help you anymore. Mr. Ritchie looked at me sternly and said threateningly that I didn't understand who I was messing with. I'm a very powerful man. Your parents will be in big trouble if you don't do as I say. Oh no, now I was scared. I didn't want my family to be dragged into it. Mom and Dad worked so hard. God damn it. I cared about Camilla and didn't want to hurt her, but I had to find a way out of the situation. So I decided that she would drop out of school herself if I disappointed her. I asked her out on a date and with a heavy heart confessed I had been working for her father. I felt like such a bastard. Camilla wiped away her tears and said that I won. I don't want to see you again, so I'm leaving school. Goodbye. She kept her word and didn't show up at school the next day. Life without her was gray and meaningless. When I was walking home, a car stopped next to me. Mr. Ritchie handed me a stack of cash through the window and smirked, looking pleased with himself. Good job. Spend the money wisely. I wanted to throw the bills after the car, but then I heard someone say my name. It was Drake. I'd had it with them both. Well done, congrats, you messed up big time. I offered you more money than my father. My sister actually fell in love with you. How could you treat her like that? That was the last straw. You're no better than me. Look at what you did to get your hands on your dad's fortune. Besides, Mr. Ritchie threatened my parents. Drake was surprised and said that it was just like his father to do that. It turned out that he really did always make his children compete with each other. So Camilla did not trust her older brother. However, Drake actually had a good plan. He wanted his father to get mad at his daughter and give the money he promised her to his son. Then he would have been able to take custody of Camilla and free her from their father's toxic control. She wouldn't believe me, so I asked you for help. Wow, if that was true, then I had to fix it. I'll help you, but enough lies. You and her sister should trust each other. Drake agreed to my terms. Camilla had blocked me on social media, and Drake helped me sneak into the mansion so that the three of us could talk and work out a plan. I'm sorry that I lied to you for such a long time. I just wanted to earn money for the competition and help my family get out of poverty. That's very noble of you. It's not easy for me, but I forgive you, Andy. And now, let's disappoint Dad. That's when the fun began. Camilla turned out to be a good actress and started to throw tantrums during her lessons with private teachers. She destroyed her dad's expensive paintings and showed up at a meeting with his business partners with fake tattoos and piercings. Mr. Ritchie's eyes started twitching, and soon he'd had enough. So he said that he was leaving everything to Drake. His son used the money to hire good lawyers and get custody of his younger sister. Everything ended well. Well, almost. After all, I didn't go to the competition in the end. However, I managed to pay for a week's vacation in Bali for my parents. They deserve to get some rest. By the way, here's a small spoiler. 6 months later, I took part in another competition and won. After all, my girlfriend was there to cheer me on. We're just getting started. What would you choose? Love or money? Be honest.